I'm going to give you a 5-step formula, kind of just steps to follow for controlling your own emotion at every emotion. And this is really the first part of emotional intelligence, is to control your own emotions. That's what we're going to focus on here. So the first part is, well, identify that feeling or emotion. It is bothering you. Maybe something negative happened. Maybe you lashed out. Whatever it was. Okay, we identify that that thing has to get solved. Then you trace it back to the root cause. Okay, how did it get started? Then you get feedback from others, because you sometimes can't really understand what happened. You're subjective. Your insight into the situation is valuable, but it's not the only side of the story. So you have to get feedback and advice from others around you, and even the person with whom you've just had that negative interaction with. You can talk it out. It's not always possible, because you might be angry at each other or whatever, but if it is possible, if they're open to that, then together you can figure out and problem solve how to not have it repeat. That's ideal. That often happens in family situations. Okay, we had an argument. Oh, it was from this silly thing. How did we not do it again? Oh, I see. I just have to not tease you or something like that, and then you won't get mad. So sometimes you can work together with the other person, because most of the time they don't want to have the negative interaction either. So two kinds of people you get feedback from: people who are third party, people uninvolved, and even if possible, that person who was involved in that negative interaction. Then of course, feedback is not everything, and your own take on it in the moment or that day is still subjective. So sometimes, if you really cannot solve the situation, take time. It's okay to not solve it immediately. You need to take time and process all over, process, maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, and really understand what's really triggering it. Because for complex issues, it's not that simple all the time. Of course, as you get better at this, you'll be able to better understand the root causes and why things happen and fix them faster. But in the beginning, it might take you time. It's okay. Just be aware. Keep working on it until you get it right, until you fix it. And then once you understand really, okay, why did it occur, then you do what's called problem solving. How do you not repeat it? And the problem solving is kind of two things. First, it's theoretical. You just basically come up with solutions. Well, if it's a person that you're having this bad interaction with, maybe you avoid the person. But that's not a great solution, because you can't avoid all similar people. And usually it's some part of that conversation or interaction that triggered it. Okay, so how do you avoid that part of the conversation or interaction? So there's different ways to solve a single problem. You have to identify a few ways and try them all. So it's not just problem solving theoretically. You have to apply it and try to solve it in one way, another way, until you fix it and it doesn't repeat. Not just with that person, but a similar situation doesn't repeat in your interactions. Now, it's not always possible to solve it 100%. Let's say you do client work. Well, one out of 100 clients, it's going to be like a really bad client, and it's going to be all their fault. Like, 1% of the people, you can't avoid the bad interactions. But at the same time, if you can minimize it to that degree, you've done yourself a tremendous favor, because that's already great. So this is not going to solve all your problems immediately, but it might just immediately decrease the problems, which means it's going to increase the good outcomes. It can have a relatively quick impact, and over time is going to have more and more of an impact as you become better at this.